Yo, we testing some branded Fusion Dark Magician stuff today, but we haven't opened a single branded card, so it's a little bit awkward. I guess it's activate ref, go next. What is going on, guys? It is your boy LOZA here. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe, and look at this hand. We've actually got the Aluber here, which is great, and we've also got Red Eyes, which you might think, damn, that's stinky, but we actually have the card to fix it. So let's go ahead and activate Prep. Prep is going to grab us the Illusion of Chaos, and I think you all know what this bad boy does. This is one of the best cards we've ever gotten, and because we have Aluber here, we're not going to grab Rod. You'll notice I'm playing one Rod because, well, we've got Aluber now, so what's the point? We're going to put the Red Eyes back. Now, I do know Fallen of Albaz is in my hand, so probably should have put that back, but that's okay. We are going to summon that Aluber because his normal summon will grab us Branded Fusion. And I'm pretty sure at this point you just want to bust out the Branded Fusion. Because if your opponent is going to ash you, they're going to ash you, you know? But you know what? We're going to do Magician Souls things first. So we're going to put the mana in the graveyard here. And we're going to special summon the Magician Souls. Now don't make a link, okay? Don't make a link. I want to make a link so bad. But if you make a link, you turn off Branded Fusion. We're going to send away the ref and just draw a card. And ironically, we drew Upstart, so we're going to draw again. Bruh. And we drew another ref, so there you go. We got nowhere with that, but hey, deck thinning and whatnot. Baiting hand traps and whatnot, alright? That's how you got to look at it. Alright, we are going to slap down the Branded Fusion here, and so we have to send the Fallen of Albaz from our hand, unfortunately. And we're going to put Dark Magician in the grave from deck 2, so that's the cool part there. And sadly, we got to discard once again. That can be pretty grim about this, but that's alright. Since we don't have Circle or Eternal Soul, I don't think there's a point going for our boy here. So I think it's just go for Dragoon. And you may as well just put the branded, the Fallen of Albaz back to the deck and summon out the the Dark Magician to summon your Dragoon. So we have a really wide board, but we can't make links or anything, which is really annoying. So these cards are just going to kind of chill here. That's fine, I guess. Like, we don't really have a choice. Maybe even a normal summon that's focused more on fusion summoning could be more viable. I don't want to say this. I don't want to say Keeper of Dragon Magic because I hate that card with a passion, but maybe? Because if they're going to negate Branded Fusion stuff, you can at least then normal Dragon Seeker and go through the motions there, like, especially if they negate Lubellion with a hand trap. I'm just thinking out loud here, but like, maybe? Nah, it can't be right. Like, Keeper needs a discard as well. It's too many discards. Alright, this hand looks hot because it has like so many ways to Dragoon, but I guess the safest one, ironically, is this. But y'all ain't ready for that conversation yet, so let's move to Branded. That's what everyone's here to see. We're gonna slap down Branded. Because we don't have Magician Souls here, we would have to just go for the Lubellion off the bat, which will send Dark Magician and Albaz, and that's just gonna give, like, this hand unfortunately is just a lot of ways to Dragoon. So maybe I need to make the build more based around Branded Fusion. Yeah, let's maybe try that. I'll be back. Now look, there's no way we drop the ref engine yet. I know a lot of people are like, oh, I'm not gonna play Red Eyes anymore because Branded does it better. No, like, you get ashed on Branded and then what? Like, yeah, you get ashed on ref as well, but when you get ashed on Branded, you can still play, so you may as well have the cards to make an Anaconda, send ref, make Dragoon, right? I understand if you want to cut down on ref, but I'd say you still got to play it. So I'm probably going to cut ref to 2, and I'm going to cut the Striker engine for now. I mean, we can play the Artemis, like, I had no room for her. We can play her, but, like, we're not normalling Rod much with it. You know, we got Rod at 1, so it's like, do we need Artemis? Not really in that case. I'll put her back over here in case we want her later. I honestly just want to use this room for more hand traps, but I feel like you guys would want more Dark Magician cards. So in that case, by the way, I'm just going to interrupt myself. I think Mana's a real good choice here, and I'm going to explain that right now. So the reason I think Mana's super smart is because we have this fusion right here, Albion, and he can send Fallen of Albaz and a Light off Branded, which can be your mana, right? And you might think, well, why would I want to do that? Well, if you do open Branded and Magician Souls, it's kind of the exact same value, and you're going to think I'm dumb for saying it, but I'll just show you. Okay, so as I was saying, like, normally you would just activate Branded, right? There's not a lot to it. You'd activate Branded, Lubellion would send Dark Magician. Sorry, Branded would send Dark Magician and Albaz, and then Lubellion will come out. Lubellion will trigger, requiring a discard. In this case, you know, one of our 3 Ash Blossoms seems fine. And then you can, you know, take your choice of any of these fusions, right? It's like, that's cool, we got to Dragoon, but, you know, we used 2 cards in our hand, so Branded was a 2-card combo. And look, this other thing I'm going to show you is also a 2-card combo, but it's just different. It's just like for a different hand. So I'll show you what I mean. So you have Branded Magician Souls. We can go Magician Souls, right? And get Magician Souls to put Dark Magician in the grave. And then just special Souls, like it doesn't really matter. Souls can just sit on the field. I wish we could link it into Link Haribo or like Anima or anything, but we can't because then we can't use Branded. So super annoying, but that's how Branded is. So now we can use the Albion instead, and you'll notice we have mana that's a light, which I think is really good. But even if you've already sent mana, you've got Ghost Ogre, right? Or Saravas. I really like Ghost Ogre in this meta because it's good against the Brave Adventure token stuff. So I recommend playing this card, guys. And also you've seen my Master Duel Synchro builds, which focus on summoning Ghost Ogre with Emergency Teleport to make Hulk plays or just, you know, prep for the Synchro event. But enough about that. We're going to send mana off Branded Fusion with Fallen of Albaz. This is going to summon our boy Albion, and Albion is going to, unfortunately, like it has to activate on Fusion Summon, which means like we have mana and DM in the bin right now. Like look, they're in the bin right now, but you can't Soul Servant draw here. It sucks. So yeah, that's a bit unfortunate, but anyway, we are going to have to summon one of the fusions here, and I'd probably say it's gonna be... I didn't think about the fact that we could use Albion too, but I guess you don't really want to at this point. Just leave him on the field, right? And it sucks that it banishes Dark Magician. Ah, man. But the cool thing is you can always get him back later with Lubellion. So that is cool, because Lubellion can fuse from face-up banish graveyard or face-up banish. So that's really cool. You can make your second Dragoon off your next Branded, bringing back these guys summoning Lubellion. So it's cool to use Albion sometimes. Like Albion definitely has its uses, and like I love Lubellion because it's just a little more generic than Albion, but the discard hurts, you know, the discard hurts, especially because it's a discard for cost. Like, oh, please no, please no. So anyway, I just wanted to share that little interaction with you. Like, not super important, but I thought it was interesting. Like, you can get mana in the grave and do Albion things. Like, Albion's not a bad card, is basically what I'm trying to say. I don't think you need other Branded Fusions, by the way. Like, these three seem like... I wish they would group together. Like, the Dark Magician ones and the Albion ones. These ones just seem like the best ones. For those of you who don't know what Ice Blade does, it's normally the one you make with Anaconda. Because it's the only one you can make with Anaconda and get value. Alright, I'll just show you the two ways you can use the Ice Blade Dragon real quick. So one of them would be just straight up getting to Branded Fusion via just any means, hard drawing it or Aluber, playing down the Branded Fusion. You're going to summon Lubellion once again, sending Dark Magician and Albaz. This, of course, will make you use Lubellion. You're going to discard. Let's get rid of an Ash Blossom. And here we're going to make the Ice Blade. We're going to have to use Lubellion and Fallen of Albaz, and that is going to... So that's going to give us the Ice Blade Dragon on field, and the cool thing is it puts Lubellion back in the deck, and I'll show you why that's cool. Alright, so the opponent summoned a card. I'm going to try to use this effect now. I can send one of these from deck to grave. In this case, I'm going to send Albion, and I'm going to banish this. And that is a quick effect that you can use once. Well, you can't use that effect on the next turn after you've used it. So it's a little weird, right? I feel like you're only going to get the effect off once in a game, and then like this card will probably die in battle or get linked away or something, you know? But the cool thing is this card also says when this fusion summon card its owner's control leaves the field by an opponent's card, just very generic, you can destroy all monsters your opponent controls during the end phase. The end phase isn't that great, but it's still nice. But like, yeah, they could still go to the battle phase and just kill you, so that effect might literally do nothing. But it's a nice effect to have, you know? I'm not going to complain, it's a free effect. So yeah, this card's not bad. Also, Albion has a graveyard effect, which you're about to find out. So Albion can actually grab you another Branded Fusion. So you have to play Albion, basically. These are the three you got to play. And now, of course, next turn, we've put Fallen of Albaz back in the deck. So here comes Lubellion again. So we're going to send that Fallen of Albaz again. And, well, I think we have to send the Dark Magician in our hand. Oh, no, we don't. We can send anything we like. Let's just send our copy of Rod, because then we got Rod engraved to recycle itself. So out comes our boy Lubellion, and he's going to want to discard. We'll just discard Dark Magician here, because that's fine. And that's cool. We've got ourselves into Dragoon. All we had to do was shuffle back the Albaz and one of the Dark Magicians. So our grave is looking pretty nice as well, and like, I don't mind this engine, it's pretty cool. Alright, let me just show you one more way you're going to summon Mirror Jade, because I feel like this will be the main way, right? You're going to go for Aluber, you're going to try to search, but you're going to get ashed. I'm just going to ash myself here, okay? But you're going to get hand trapped on Aluber, right? So no Branded Fusion, and you're very sad about it. Alright, we're just gonna send Dark Magician off souls. It doesn't really matter. We're just gonna get 2 monsters, okay? I think you guys know where we're going. 2 monsters in any deck. Anaconda, baby. Alright, so we're gonna go for the Anaconda. You can send the ref here and make Dragoon, but I mean, I want to show you branded things. So here's what you can do. You can summon the Ice Jade by sending away the Anaconda. So you can actually summon Ice Jade by using your Anaconda and your Fallen of Albaz. So that's pretty cool. It's not the best play, but it's a play you can consider, right? So I don't mind that at all. I don't mind that at all. Obviously, in that scenario, you should have just sent ref off Anaconda. Like, I would say Dragoon's a lot better than this card. You could argue that this card is better card advantage-wise, because when it is the opponent's turn, you are going to, you know, use that banish. And, I mean, that's all the Dark Magician deck does anyway, right? Why can't I use the effect? Oh, there we go. The Dark Magician deck just tries to achieve 1 banish anyway. Hey, look, this card does it for free. Basically. And then, of course, in the end phase, we're going to get a search, which is kind of nuts, because then it's like, well, we're going to have the branded fusion now. It's great. So yeah, my first kind of theory about this deck is you do need to play 1, Ice Blade Dragon, 2, Lubellion, and 3, Albion. And I think if you play those 3 fusions, you're pretty much good to go. Like, I think you could add more if you wanted to, but that's probably all you need. What's really cool about it is if you open a hand like this and you're like, whoa, I've got the Dark Magician like spell trap lock, cool, you're gonna go for your branded fusion, you'll go and activate it, and I mean if you're playing second you should have activated circle first, but we're gonna assume that we're not playing second. We're gonna send Dark Magician and Albaz, which is pretty much gonna be the sends 90% of the time, I wanna say. We're gonna discard an Ash Blossom because we have 2, and instead of Dragoon we're gonna make Dark Magician the Dragon Knight, because as a lot of you know, this card is freaking good. The biggest problem with Dark Magician the Dragon Knight for years has been we don't have a way to summon it in like 1 to 2 cards, the way we can summon Dragoon. Like, it's a good card, there's no efficient way to summon it, but the fact that it identifies as Dark Magician and protects back row, insane. Insane. So yeah, if you've ever thought I hated this card, I do not. It's just, we don't have a 1-card way to summon it. Till now. Branded Fusion. I mean, technically it's 2 because we had to discard, but you get what I'm saying. So from here, we're going to activate Circle, and we're going to add a Dark Magician. Lol. It's cool, we'll take it. We take a free Dark Magician. And then we've got our set Eternal Soul, right? And yeah, we can't link these away, which is a little annoying. But you know on the opponent's turn, we're going to be able to Eternal Soul, summon Dark Magician, or we're going to be able to just summon this back if they do manage to out it. And you know, your back row is protected too, because, you know, Dark Magician the Dragon Knight's out. The biggest downside to Dark Magician the Dragon Knight with Branded Fusion is you can't get it off the field when the turn you play Branded Fusion, because I like to continuously recycle my Dark Magicians and my Dark Magician Dragon Knights by linking them away. Like, Dark Magician's easy because you got Link Spider, you got Imduck. Dragon Knight's a little harder, you have to have another body and like link into Anaconda or link into just like Dark or like something else, Selene if you have a spellcaster out with something else. It's a little more annoying to get him off the field, but you know you always want to be able to summon him back and trigger that Eternal Soul. Now of course in this hand we've got Dark Magician anyway. So you can see that Branded Fusion really gives us this kind of new way to fusion summon, and while it's not the most efficient, it's pretty good. My biggest problem is Lubellion. He is a massive choke point, and being a discard for cost just makes him way worse. Fusing from Banished and Grave, fantastic. Requiring a discard, not quite as good. Being susceptible to Imperm Vela Gamma and Ash if you count Branded Fusion's activation. Not great. Not great. The best part about Branded Fusion is if you do get ashed on Branded Fusion, cool, just do other things, right? You can still normal summon. It's not as restrictive as Red Eye's Fusion unless it resolves. When it does resolve, no links. And if you linked before that, no branded. So it has its own restrictions. And yeah, I really don't get why people are saying like, oh, we don't need ref, just play this. Like, you still need both, guys. You still need both. The other cool thing about this is, of course, it says you can only activate 1 Branded Fusion per turn. That is crucial, because if your opponent uses Solemn Judgment or another hard negate on your first Branded Fusion when you're playing second, cool, you can just play another one if you open more than one. I love that about Red Eye's Fusion, and I love that about Branded Fusion. Forbidden Droplet is in this list here, but you can just play Imperm as well, don't worry about that, or like Forbidden Chalice is great going second as well, very cheap card as well. As you saw earlier, Ghost Ogre is great because it's light, just in case you need another target for Albion. Oh, I just got rid of Albion. So yeah, Ghost Ogre is like great, right? It's really good to check the current meta, like all the Brave stuff and whatnot. But at any case, if it becomes redundant, like just play Effect Veiler. Like it's even a spellcaster, so you could play like Quintet and like just try to get a bunch of spellcasters in the bin at some point and go for Quintet. I don't mind that play at all. Droll and Lockbird comes to mind as well. It's another very strong spellcaster hand trap. If it's format relevant, it's super good, and it can be a spellcaster that's paving its way to Quintet for you, like a different name. Just in case no one knows, Quintet needs 5 spellcasters, and if you use 5 with different names, it blows the whole field. But yeah, you can play Quintet if you want. You definitely don't have to. But you can see we still got some extra deck room here because we cut the striker stuff, and we got some main deck room. Don't forget that Illusion of Chaos is still your best friend here. He's going to put back your Fallen of Albaz bricks. He's going to put back your Manas, your Red Eyes, your Dark Magicians. If you drew too many copies of Branded Fusion, he can put them back. If you drew too many copies of Red Eyes Fusion, he can put them back. He is just a universal hand fixer-upper, and you do love to see him. You could play a third prep, but I honestly feel like 2 is the perfect number now. And I know I said 3 for ages, but I think 2 is good because it just gives you a little more room for hand traps, and like it means you have 4 like Illusion of Chaoses and 3 Soravas, which is really nice. Plus, like obviously Illusion of Chaos is more copies of Souls and Rod, and Prep is more copies of all of them. So while Rod's at 1, we've actually got 5 copies of Rod, or 5 ways to Rod, right? And Souls is at 3, but we've actually got the double Illusion of Chaos, double Prep, so we've got 7 ways to Soul. And of course, yeah, Soravas is just here as a 3 of if you count the Prep. So I think all those numbers are good. And you could cut Soravas. I know some people don't like it, but you'll notice I have no Eagle Booster because there's no Striker package, and I have no Called By. You can play Called By instead, but I like that this is searchable. I like that it's a light and it's a dragon. Like, it doesn't really matter. You're probably never going to use this to fuse, but it is a dragon and it is a light, so it can come up with some of this stuff. It probably won't, but it's just another kind of nice thing, you know? And like, quite frankly, this card is better than the Timaeus Dragon to me, okay? Timaeus should have been like this bad boy, alright? This guy's great. I'm almost thinking about putting like Dogmatica stuff back in here because, like, think about it. We're locked into fusions. Oh, Dogmatica locks you out of the extra deck altogether though. But like, once you're locked out of the extra deck from Branded, like you're locked into fusions, it'd be cool to like summon Ecclesia or play Nadir, right? And just grab punishment. Like, that would be fantastic. And Nadir could even send Albion to get you Branded Fusion at the end of your turn. I know you can't use it till next turn, but like, that's an option. So yeah, look, I'm going to put the Nadir package down here just in case anyone wants to play it, because I would say definitely give it a shot. So you'll notice Branded Opening is kind of in my side down here, and this isn't a side deck. This is just like a place to put cards worth considering. This card, it doesn't discard for cost, but it's just kind of crap, you know? I'd rather you just play Aluber, right? Aluber's great, just normal summon, search Branded Fusion. I know he's money right now, but don't buy him. I put up posts, I hope you guys saw them. There's a reprint. Ghost of the Past 2. There's reprints coming. Like, do not purchase this card, guys. Even if the new one's like worth money, the old one will come down in price, and it's way too high right now. In Australia, it's around $100. It's dropped now, but it was like over $100. It was ridiculous, and people are, you know, still trying to shill it for $100, and it's like everyone's just flaming them in the comments. I love it. I don't know how the groups are in America or Germany or wherever you're watching from. Our Facebook groups, like, people are just harassing these people for like trying to shill Alubas for $100 now, and it's quite humorous to watch. So yeah, I'm gonna take Branded Opening out of here, by the way, because it sucks. If we were a deck that could afford to play like more discard stuff, like sure, if you wanted the consistency, I'd say go for it. Alright, I've just put some extra deck cards you might want to play with your Dogmatica stuff too. Obviously, you'd have to play the Ash Dragon. Ash Dragon's absolutely amazing because I don't think I've ever summoned this card, but now that you're playing Albaz and Branded Fusion, you could actually summon this, which is kind of crazy. The main thing you use this for is sending off Nadir to then search a Fallen of Albaz or Dogmatica monster, right? Like, that's just so good. So all this thing does is gain attack, and it's unaffected by activated effects of special summon monsters the turn it does that. Wow, this card sucks. Okay, you're probably never gonna summon it. I've never actually read the effect, and yeah, it's kind of lackluster, but that's fine. I kind of like the Dogmatica Nadir engine here because it's like, if your Aluber gets ashed, you can at least just play Nadir safely, or like, you know, if your Branded gets ashed, or if you get hand trapped on like Lubellion, like, remember how I said Lubellion's like a massive choke point? Well, if you get hand trapped on Lubellion, at least you can like play Nadir or summon Special Ecclesia because it's a fusion, right? Special out Ecclesia and like just get Dogmatica stuff. I know it's not much, it's just like punishment and fleur, but that could potentially hold you in the game till next turn, and you could maybe just make another play. You could maybe get to like an Anaconda then, or a Dark Charmer, or just a way to generate resources, you know. Hard drawing Albaz might be okay if you play a number of fusions too, because he's kind of like a super poly on legs, so it wouldn't be too shabby. I guess that's the other thing. Super poly. Everyone's going to be playing branded fusion, so play super poly. I guess that's what we should put in. So Starving Venom should definitely go in, and I really like Mud Dragon. You could probably play like the Prank Kids one as well. Prank Kids just won like a really big tournament. I forget what the name of the tournament is, but everyone in my Yu-Gi-Oh group chat's talking about it. Weather Wash is probably the best super poly target, so I'm gonna put Weather Washer down here. Now this means as well, I'm just gonna move these cards up here for like going second cards. We're gonna kind of count all the going second cards we've got. Alright, I've kind of put them in order of how relevant I think they are going second. So Super Poly is super freaking good. Same with Red-Eyes Fusion. A lot of people sleep on this card. This card's incredible, and pair it with Droplet, and like then you've got like a really strong Red-Eyes Fusion that can't be negated by anything except Ash at that point, you know, with Droplet. Super Poly, obviously, they can't respond to though altogether, so that's huge. And surely people will be playing Branded Fusion, summoning out their Dragoons, then their Albions, Lubellions, Ice Jade, Mirror Jades. And so in that case, Super Poly is just going to take advantage of that, right? Especially if they got there via Anaconda, which it shouldn't be the case, to be honest. But if they just summon normal Dragoon Anaconda, great, you've got Super Poly for that too. Of course, DPE is still everywhere, so don't be afraid to run Super Poly. Like, Prank Kids are still summoning this bad boy. Got a Prank Kid Super Poly target too. There's plenty of decks playing DPE. If you verse Phantom Knight, Super Poly is amazing as well. Dragon Link is getting popular again, kinda. So once again, Dragon Link gets completely clapped by Super Poly. So anyway, we've talked about the spells, the hand traps. Ash, a bit of a lackluster hand trap, I'll admit, but it's very generic, and that is why you're going to want to play it. It doesn't hit the Brave engine, which is why our next one, Ghost Ogre, does. Yeah, only at 2, because I don't really think we should cut anything else. But you could probably cut like an Aluber if you wanted for a Ghost Ogre, even a Prep. Hell, I know Upstart is so good in DM, but if you really wanted it, you cut like Soravis, something like that. But I would even look into bumping up Circle and Eternal Soul, maybe. Just because Branded getting you to Dark Magician the Dragon Knight means that Circle and Eternal Soul are actually a lot better in this deck. I would argue you could almost cut Ash and just bump up Circle and Eternal Soul, you know, and play a third Ghost Ogre. I did have Branded Fusion there as like a kind of going second card because it can summon Dragoon in theory, which is great going second, but yeah, it also loses to like everything under the sun while Ref only loses to Ash, so I think Ref is just way better going second. But I guess if we're gonna play like Droplet Super Poly, that's a lot of discards. Maybe we need to focus on more DM stuff from here, so maybe the hand traps aren't that necessary. Like, I'm thinking like maybe even cut all of them. I guess Soravis doesn't really need to be here. If we're playing like super blowout cards like Super Poly Droplet, I don't think we need Soravis to protect our shit anyway. It's like, who cares? We're going to be playing mega cards. Now, it's looking more like a going second build, but I think this might be the way forward. Alright, Dark Magician players rejoice. I am actually upping the counts of Circle and Eternal Soul. I think 2 is fine. I don't think you need any more than that, and any profile that tells you need more than 2, I'm pretty sure they're trolling, guys. Like, there's no way you would play these cards at more than this. You know what? The last couple of spots, Dogma Engine's looking pretty good, I gotta say. You know, I just have to make a little bit of room, and I reckon it could fit in. Oh, no, we got the Super Poly stuff, so... Yeah, actually, no. Get out of here, Dogmatica. Now, you could play Secrets, actually. Secrets could be really, really hot here, but that would make me want to play Dark Magicians as well, which could be a little difficult. But, I mean, you could just play Secrets... I guess the biggest issue is we're playing... Oh, I just lost a rod. Whoop, I just deleted our one rod. There it is back. That's the problem. We have one rod, so like Secret seems kind of just stupid again because you really want to be normaling Aluber here, getting your Branded Fusion. You do not... I'll repeat this for like the 50th time. You do not want to send your Branded off for Anaconda, okay? It means you can only make this, and while this card's cool, there's a lot of other stuff you probably want to do instead. Remember, Branded can make this, which then makes you this, or it can make you this, that makes you this, or it can make you this, which can make you this, or it could even make you this. I guess they can make you this too. Man, I really just want them to remake this card. Isn't this just the coolest art ever? Like, Dark Magician with Flame Swordsman, like, come on, Konami, remake this. I love this shit. I guess this guy kind of looks like that, but less Flame Swordsman-y. Yeah, give me the Flame Swordsman. I don't care about Black Luster Soldier that much. Do y'all ever just, like, remember we just got freaking Gaia's Horse with Dark Magician as a fusion? It's so random. Like, they could have just not done this. Speaking of remakes, we need this boy to be remade, and my man Time Wizard, make him a Link. I wouldn't mind if they just made this card again, but called it like what it is. They're like, Tamias with Dark Magician. Like, I don't know. This card was cool back in the day, but I just want a cooler version, like modern version. I know there's Dark Magician the Dragon Knight, but that's more Dark Magician the Dragon Knight. And if you don't know, there's literally a Dark Magician the Dragon Knight. Like, I love this card too. I wish we could play that. I'm gonna summon this on Master Duel and beat someone with it. I love this card. Holy shit, I forgot about Chronicle Magician. This card still sucks and it's pretty depressing. Honestly, like Tenyiva Shooter's better, and like Red Eye's Meteor Dragon. I know we're a bit off topic now, but man, I really thought this was going to be the future of Dark Magician. Like they were going to give us a spell that rotated the deck, and then like we'd use this to get rid of that spell and another spell and just like keep searching our whole deck. But then they were like, nope, your rota is a ritual monster, which still works because you can play prep, so I guess technically it's still fine, but yeah, Inheritance is way too slow. It should have been Banish 1, not 2. Banish 2 is stupid. Let's have a vow of silence for our fallen Conrad. The card that should have been better. Speaking of cards that should have been better, oh my. If this could have just activated Eternal Soul from deck, oh my lord, this would have been amazing. It would have meant Dark Magician in your hand isn't a brick turn 1. I just fixed it. Congratulations. Take me in, Konami. I just fixed bricking on the vanilla turn 1. Salvation activates Eternal Soul. Eternal Soul summons Dark Magician. Congrats. I can now link that away. I can do something with that. You know, I can normal rod, link the two of them into something like the Dark Charmer, Anaconda, and like obviously you'd have to make Dark Magician and I'm Doc or Link Spider, but you get what I'm saying. The possibilities would have been endless, but no, it just sets it. Wasted potential, wasted opportunity. Oh man, what is this card even meant to do? This card is so stupid. This card could be good. I really hope we can come back to this card one day and be like, this is amazing. I know Meteor Dragon actually makes this way more viable, so I might look into that soon. But anyway, we're getting a bit off topic. Let's get back to Branded, and I'm trying to finish the deck. I'm gonna leave the Dogmatica stuff down here because it's all options that you guys can play. And you know, I'm happy to give you guys extra options, like, and not just say, hey, you have to play this. Like, guys, play the deck how you want. I'm just giving you my take on it. I might even put Red-Eyes Fusion back at 3 just because we've got so much going second cards, and this is another great one. I don't know. Is that wrong? I need to fill this space anyway, and I mean, I could play Insights too, but I don't think I should do that. Not in this build. I like Insight, but not in this build. I'd say like a Black Metal Engine too, but no. We already got Aluber. I don't want to disrupt the Aluber normal summon idea, you know? I guess also because Rod's at 1, like, double Circle, double Eternal Soul's probably necessary because we're not going to be searching with Rod as much. Soul Servant still has its value to some degree. It's hard to say. It sucks that when Branded Fusion summons Lubellion, it puts like DM in the bin, but then it immediately tries to Fusion Summon straight away on its Fusion Summon, like on its... I wish its effect wasn't on Fusion Summon, like, oh, we could at least like Soul Servant and get a draw there and like, just get a card. But then we just send it back to the deck and then, hey, Soul Servant's dead again. I guess because we can summon Dark Magician the Dragon Knight, it wouldn't hurt to play some stuff like Gozen Match. And I mean, what, the deck's mainly dark except for... Lubellion's light, but I think that's fine, right? Lubellion's the only light, and then there's like mana. I think it's fine. Gozen wins you the Prank Kids matchup, and the brave stuff, like, you turn that shit off, right? Because the tokens on Earth, and I'm not the biggest fan of Gozen, but it would just win you way too many matchups. Like, yeah, against Phantom Knight, it won't do as much, but they still play the Brave Adventure Engine, so you'll turn that off once again. That's one less thing for you to have to deal with. Plus, this sucks against Phantom Knight, but Super Poly doesn't, so, you know, you kind of just gotta hope you don't see Gozens inside the Mount games 2 and 3. I definitely keep the Magicalized Fusion. I know there's a lot of fusion spells going on here, but I think you gotta keep the Magicalized. The fact that you can just make more Dragoons is just too good. Not to mention Dark Magician the Dragon Knight's a DM in the bin, while also being a dragon. He can literally be either material. It's kind of funny. Like 2 Dark Magician Dragon Knights engraved summons Dragoon for you with Magicalized. That's funny as shit. Oh man, I want this card so bad. This card is gonna change how we play the deck, I swear. This card is crazy good. Magician Souls for Red Eyes, but, you know, we use it better. You'll love to see it. But I do think I just finished this list by playing our 3rd copy of Ref. It's not the best, but I can't think of like a one-of that we could play. Actually, let's go look at the one-ofs. Like Duster is a one-of that's great, but I don't know. I guess we could play going second, like a going second build, like win the die roll, say I'm going second. Like we've got that many going second cards between Droplet, Super Poly, Ref, Branded. That's a lot of power spells going second. Unfortunately, like Gozen would then be kind of stupid. So I think we'd still aim for first with this build. It's just we've got a lot of cards that make it okay to play second. So yeah, I don't know. I'd probably just side the Duster still. You could play Call by the Grave actually. That would be really good. Yeah, actually, let's cut a Ref for a Call by the Grave. But then it feels silly because Ref and Call by the Grave is so OP. Oh, I don't know, man. That's tough. You could have Red Reboot, but once again, that's only if you're like a strong going second deck. I'd say like you would just side Duster and Reboot. Mind Control, I don't mind Mind Control at all. It forces like the Griffin negate, or it just forces them to use like a mecha response. Like it forces a response. I like Mind Control, and you can also use the body to link with to make Anaconda, which is cool. So yeah, really good option. Reborn, yeah, you could just put Reborn in. It's not bad. It's an extender. If you played Branded though, like an extender makes no sense. But you know what? No, let's put it in. Call by the Grave's cool, but Monster Reborn, like in this deck, look at the things you could bring back. Like you could be bringing back freaking Dragoon, Dark Magician, Dragon Knight, like Mirror Jade. Like I think Reborn actually is definitely the card to play here. There's just too many big boys you could bring back. And don't forget that like Aluber is on special summon too, so you could just Monster Reborn Aluber and grab Branded Fusion. Like that's huge. Oh yeah, Aluber has a second effect too. So if a fusion monster you control is destroyed by battle or leaves the field because of opponent card effect, while it's in grave, target effect monster opponent controls special summon this. Then if you do, negate that card. Like, that's cool. It didn't need to say that. It could have not said that and this card would still be played, but the fact that it does is great. All right, I think this might be my final take. I know it took a long time to get here, but thank you for sticking around. This is it. So, let's go through the deck profile card by card. 2 Dark Magician. Now, if you know me, you know 2 Dark Magician is just a staple at this point. Nothing new. The 1 Red Eyes Black Dragon. Yes, you still gotta play it, guys. I really just think you still gotta play it. Mana. Now, you can play Dark Magician Girl, you can play Mahad. I prefer Mana because when a spellcaster is targeted, she can summon herself. Some people don't understand why that's good. Well, if you haven't played Branded Fusion yet in this build, you can make links and you can do some extension. You can get into Selene or Access Code or Dark. I know she's a light, but everything else in your deck's dark, so you can get into Dark. But yeah, she's just a really nice card, guys. She's definitely won me a lot of games just by being able to come out when I've gone, Magician Souls, send 2 to draw. Any response? And they're like, Imperm. And I'm like, cool. Chain Mana Engrave. Boom. Like, you can force your opponent into like a bad scenario like that, right? Either you draw 2 or you get a body to make Anaconda. Like, things like that are just what you need to do to your opponent. You give them a scenario where both options they're kind of losing. Like, obviously I kind of wanted that draw 2 and I've gone neg 2 for it essentially, or neg 1 because they traded a card. But then you get mana. You go neutral, it's good, and then you make Anaconda, right? And if they've used their only interruption of Imperm Vela, Dragoon's coming out. Like, so I think Mana's still the best, but I will say, I don't care which brick you play, okay? I'm not gonna say your deck's shit based on you playing Mahad or based on you playing DMG. Like, the extra card you play in this position is irrelevant. You could play any of the 3. I don't care. Just don't play a 3rd Dark Magician, for God's sake. Speaking of 3 Dark Magician, though, we might play 3 again with Meteor Dragon. That's a whole nother video, though, so I won't spoil that yet. Aluber. Aluber is insane. He's like the Alistair for Branded Fusion, or you could say the Despia Alistair. Despia Alista. Aluber, Alista, Aluba. Now, I believe Aluber was called, what was he called? Alfredo? No. I'm looking it up, because I'm pretty sure Aluber had a way different name. Aluber the Dogmatica, what the It was like Alberto or something, wasn't it? It was something hella funny. Oh yeah, Aluber also reads to search a Despia spell trap in Europe, whereas it's meant to say Branded spell trap, so it can't actually search. It can't actually search Branded. Like, it can, but yeah, they've worded it wrong. Despia's Guidance Arbel. Well, that wasn't it. There it is, Albert. Albert of Despia. I knew it was something hella dumb. Imagine if they called this man Albert. Holy crap, that would have been so funny. Anyway, we got Alistair, or Aluba, which is basically our version of Searchy Branded Fusion. So, another copy of Branded Fusion, and it does have that cool grave effect I mentioned earlier. Isn't too bad, not bad at all. It's also a normal or special summon, which is pretty cool. 1 Fallen of Albaz, because it's kind of a brick in this deck. Like, you're just playing it so you can use Branded Fusion, right? You don't really want to normal this. I know it's kind of a super poly, but it can be responded to, and we've got enough normal summons, right? We've got 1 Rod coming up and 3 Alubers. We don't want to normal summon this. It is an option, though. And just to check in, we're playing like Starving Venom and stuff, so it's not the worst if you have to do the Super Poly effect. Well, let's talk about Rod. We're playing it at 1 in this build, which is a little unfortunate, but Aluber is just a way better normal, right? It gets us to that branded fusion, which gets us to either Dark Magician, the Dragon Knight, or Dragoon, which are both very, very strong. So, you know, sorry Rod, you're gonna have to go to 1. Now don't forget that Rod is highly searchable off Prep, which searches Illusion of Chaos, which searches Rod. So there's actually 5 copies of Rod or 5 ways to Rod. So don't worry, you'll still see Rod a lot. Our Magician's Souls. Magician's Souls is getting played in every deck right now because of Based, but it's still our card and it still works best in our deck. Being able to send one of your bricks and then get some draws maybe, fantastic. Putting mana in the grave is my favorite, and then you just send anything to draw. You try to bait that hand trap, and then you either draw into what you need, or you get your mana on field and you link an Anaconda. I love this card with Anaconda so much. DMG's fine, Mahard's fine, but this card and mana are like perfect. Illusion of Chaos, our new boy, and isn't he just glorious? A great card, a very pretty card, a little bit expensive, but very much worth it. Adds consistency to the deck, but not just consistency, it fixes your hand. It lets you mulligan your hand to some degree, which is just sensational and exactly what the deck needed. Now, unfortunately, it's getting played in Based in a bunch of other decks, because of course, whenever Dark Magician gets a good card, it's generic, because Konami just don't know how to make Dark Magician cards that are good just for Dark Magician. I'm sure there's a lot of little text changes that would make it so easy, and yet they don't do it. They could just say, hey, you can only use this effect if you have a deck full of Dark Spell Card. No, I know that's way too specific, but the point is, they really need to just make Dark Magician cards good, but make them specific to Dark Magician. That would be great. That would be great, Konami. Go work on that. That's your homework. Alright, moving on. Triple Branded Fusion. This card, insane, right? It's insane and it's terrible at the same time. What I mean by terrible is it plays into like every hand trap under the sun, but that's only because the monster you summon off this is a monster and then activates its effect, which requires a discard for cost. Ew. And then you need to hope you don't get hand trapped there, right? So getting hand trapped on Branded, not that bad. Ashed on Branded, fine. Getting effect veiled or impermed on Lubellion, which is like 99% of the time you're going to be summoning Lubellion. Getting hand trapped on this, yikes. You go neg 2. Because you've lost your Branded Fusion, you've discarded for this, and then you've been hand trapped, and you're locked into fusions. Anaconda doesn't save you then. Like, your turn is over. Your turn is over, sir. So yeah, I love Branded Fusion, don't get me wrong, but yeah, definitely has its flaws, you know. Magicalized Fusion at 1. I still love this card, you know, it's going to bust out your second Dragoon off your Anaconda late game, or mid to late game. Like, literally turn 2, you'll be able to do it. And I don't mean turn 2 as in going second, I mean you've gone first, and now it's back to you. People do out Dragoon, they play Droplets, they play Kaijus, they know ways to beat it. Dark Ruler No More is great, Triple Tactics Steal It is absolutely game stealing. But yeah, the point is, this helps you reinforce that they took out your Dragoon, but you're not done. You know, you've got another one coming, and I love this card so much. And yeah, some people don't like it because it can be a brick, but to them I say, like, dude, half Dark Magician cards are bricks anyway. Like, at least this one does something amazingly good. Not to mention, if you open Magician Souls in this, Magician Souls links into summons Dark Magician, links into I'm Dark, Magicalized summons Dragoon, just those 2 cards. And if you do have the extender, of course, most people know your normal summon, link the I'm Dark and the extender away, or the normal summon away, into Anaconda, play Magicalized, summon Dragoon, Anaconda effect, summon second Dragoon. So, 3 card double Dragoon, that's pretty freaking good. So yeah, a lot of love for this card from me. Preparation of Rites. I have said to play this at 3 a lot, but I'm playing at a 2 in this current build, and that seems... I don't mind it at all, just because you need the room for hand traps and the power cards that we're playing. And you know, all the base decks are playing it at 2, so I'm kind of stealing their ratio and saying, yep, I thought of this. It was me all along, guys, right? Red Eyes Fusion. Now, I shield this card at 3 all day, all night. Unfortunately, in this build, I have put it at 2, and that is because, like, we're trying to do Branded Fusion here. We really are. We've even got Super Poly. Like, Red Eyes Fusion isn't the focus point of the deck, especially not in a Branded Fusion based deck. I could say you could play this at 3, alright? I think playing this at 3 is fine, but I think you guys will be much happier with it at a lower number. Plus, I feel like you're much happier playing Super Poly and Branded Fusion going second. Like, while Red Eyes Fusion is still probably better in a lot of scenarios, because Red Eyes Fusion and then popping to a Dragoon and swinging is game a lot of the time, this card can do essentially the exact same, but there's just more lines of play. But yeah, Red Eyes Fusion is still one of my favorite cards. Very linear, but very strong. Never forget, a 1-card Dragoon is always going to be good, guys. Sorry if you don't like that, just get over it. Monster Reborn, this is definitely, once again, a flex spot. You can put Call by the Grave, as I showed earlier. You can put a bunch of other cards here that are one-offs. Just go through the one-offs on the ban list and chuck something in.
As long as it's not like Night Silent, you'll be fine. So yeah, I like this card because we've got so many big fusions in this deck, and like summoning back Starving Venom's great. Summoning back like some of the Albaz fusions is pretty good actually, and obviously summoning back like one of the big Dark Magician boys is fine. And I mentioned earlier, summoning back Aluber triggers its effect to triggers its effect to search Branded Fusion, which is great. Upstart Goblin, a lot of people know now. This card with Soul Servant or Circle, absolutely crazy. You can do some crazy stuff. An absolute necessity, I would say, in Dark Magician, and it doubles as one of the easiest cards to side out, right? You go, damn, this matchup I need like all 3 Lancia, all 3 Droll, all my Nibiru's in my side. Damn, how am I going to find 9 cards? Well, you know you can start with Upstart, you can start with stuff like Salvation. I'm going to look at the rest of this deck now for sides, but, you know, you can probably side Gozens depending on the matchup. 1 Circle and 1 Eternal Soul, always easy to come out. A Super Poly or 2 or 3 if you're playing first, you probably don't want this as much. Hell, I'd even say like you could side out an Aluber, because like you'd still got 5 ways to brand it then, and 5 is that magic number I've spoken about in the past. I don't know if you'd ever side Droplet out. I guess it depends on the matchup. Like maybe against Eldritch you'd just be like, well, this card sucks, so see you later. But against Eldritch you don't really need hand traps, so yeah, I don't know. Anyway, the point is, Upstart, just universally good card, you know? Anyway, speaking of Droplet, Droplet is incredible. Droplet with Red Eyes Fusion wins you games so easily. I've spoken about it a lot, but if you guys want me to talk about that later, I might make a video on that later. But anyway, just having like Effect Veiler, Chalice, or Droplet with Ref is just game against so many decks playing second. And we don't like playing second, right? So the fact that we can almost just OTK someone out of nowhere if they don't have Ash is crazy. Not to mention this card is just good because you can use it in Damage Step, which is really hot. Or Damage Calc as well. Soul Servant, we're still playing this bad boy at 3 because we do have a lot of ways to get Dark Magician and stuff in the bin. It's still mainly Magician Souls and Anaconda though, because Branded Fusion gets it in the bin, but then it normally fuses it and puts it in Banished or puts it in back in the deck. So that's my other pseudo like dilemma with Branded Fusion. It's just like, come on man, why are all the Fusion monsters effects like on Fusion Summon to discard and then Fusion Summon and like immediately, like let me do it later, just let me do some other stuff. But oh well. So I feel like this card gets a little bit cocked by that, but it's still a good card. Super Poly, the blowout card. I think moving into a Branded Fusion Albaz structure deck release format, there'll be people playing Albaz stuff everywhere, right? So why not just treat yourself to Super Poly, giving you free wins, taking away their Dragoons, their DPEs. And remember, when you Fusion away DPE, they cannot use the effect to bring it back, because it has to actually be popped, I believe. If it's used as material for something, that doesn't matter, it can't get its effect. So it won't be coming back, and we love to see that, unless you Monster Reborn it back, eh? So yeah, Super Poly is just universally great. It does kind of suck against Prank Kids because they can play around it. Like, they normally don't summon Battle Butler till you've outed the Griffin stuff and, you know, you've tried to threaten their board or tried to snipe it. So while Super Poly can be good against Prank Kids, it's probably better going first against them and you just set it, and when they get 2 Prank Kids out, you just like flip it, fuse them away, like, no, stop. But yeah, it's definitely a good meta check coming up, you know? If you don't think it's good now, that's fine, but like there's still other decks it's fine against. Like Dragon Link, this card's great. Phantom Knights, this card's great. Prank Kids, which I've already said. There's a bunch of good Warrior fusions too, if you have like Infernobles going around or any Warrior decks. Like Heroes as well, it's great. I don't think there'd be any more really decks that this is that great against. Obviously, as we move forward, Invoked it's great against, and Albaz stuff, so it'll be fine. Shadows as well, I guess you could technically say. Dark Magic Circle, I absolutely loathe this card because it always lets me down. But in this build, we're going to play it at 2 because, well, 1, we don't have Rod Search as much with Rod at 1. So we're going to bump up the numbers. And I think 2 has always been a fine number. 3 is trolling. So yeah, just play 2. Eternal Soul in a very, very similar boat. You don't really want to open it unless you have Dark Magician or a way to put it in bin. So 2's a good number because it's kind of like you'll see it sometimes, but not all the time. So yeah, 2 good number. And you can always search it off your Rod if you're not summoning Aluber, right? So it's okay. I'll say that. It's okay. We're going to play 2. But yeah, I would be fine with people cutting these to 1 like I normally do. That's fine too. You could just play a hand trap or something. Gozen Match, this is our big meta check as well because, you know, everyone's playing the Adventurer engine, the Brave engine if you want to call it that, and this just turns that shit right off. They summon the token, and you just flip this and you say, enjoy all your Earths. I'm pretty sure it's Earth, let me check. Yeah, it's an Earth, great. So they summon the Earth, and then you're like, have Prank Kids Roxy's, or your turn is over. Yeah, the most unfortunate side is Roxy's is an Earth, and so is Prank Kids Meow Meow. So if they do open the Roxys, they're actually fine, but they normally play that one at a lower ratio because it's the worst one to open. So there's still the chance that you're fine. So anyway, back to Gozen. It's not as good against Prank Kids, right? But it will kind of mean that your Super Polys is going to be crazy. So yeah, and it does still turn off the Brave Engine once again, which they should be playing if they're playing Prank Kids. Not to mention like Dragon Link decks that will be playing the Brave Engine. You're going to turn off their Brave Engine again. Not so much the D-Link stuff. Some of them are light, but not many. So it's not too great there, but it's still like, it's going to stop Brave. It's stopping a negate, right? It's stopping a negate, and that's cool. Against Prank Kids, it is an auto win. I'll just say that. Unless, yeah, the scenario we just spoke about earlier, it's an auto win otherwise. I'm not too sure how this will do against Albaz stuff later. Against Invoked, this can be very good because, hey, you're locked, you normal Alistair, you're locked into Darks. Like, you can't link into Artemis. You'll have to play Invo from hand and summon Kaliga. Like, it's pretty good against like invoked variants. So once again, Gozen can be just a blowout card for us. Of course, we do have some lights in the deck, so it can be a little weird for us, but mostly dark, it should be mostly okay. Alright, getting into the extra deck, we've finally got our boy here, Dark Magician the Dragon Knight. You do love to see him in the deck finally. He is just chilling, and yeah, the fact that we can summon him with Branded is just incredible. I do wish we had a better way in Dark Magician just to bring him out, so I'm hoping one day we get like a Dark Magician fusion that's similar to Branded and Red Eyes, where it just brings out the fusion and sends the material to the bin, or, you know, something similar to that. It would be so perfect, and like, this card is so good, guys. It just doesn't get the love it deserves because we're so inconsistent at setting this up with Circle and Eternal Soul. Like, I've worked on builds that turbo this card. I have. But then you use, like, your whole hand to get there and you don't have the resources to play the Circle or Eternal Soul or find them at that point, right? You need to be using your Rod Surge to get Circle or Eternal Soul, right? The missing piece. But if we do get a Fusion spell, it'll be Rod to get the Fusion spell, so it's another whole dilemma. But, you know what? We'll deal with that when we get there. Dragoon, our main man. You gotta love him. If you don't love him, what are you doing on this channel? Like, honestly, get out of here. Dragoon is just the win con for a lot of our games, and we can summon it very easily. So you're playing 2. I've seen people play 3, and I just don't think it would come up that much, but if you want to play 3, go ham. I'm just going to stick to 2 for now. It's very good. Like, honestly, if you've summoned 2 Dragoons, you should be closing out the game, more or less, you know? Alright, we're getting into the Albaz fusions, and this is kind of the Dragoon of Albaz. You can make it off Anaconda, thank God, but the other fusions you're not going to want to make off Anaconda. But anyway, so this one's effect is a quick effect to banish, so if you combine this with Circle Eternal Soul, you have 2 banishes, which is really nice. And I think if you could set that up consistently, that'd be really hot. Especially since you get to send a Fallen of Albaz fusion from extra deck to grave, right? And obviously the Fallen of Albaz fusions normally have grave effects in the end phase that search, so the fact that you can use Mirror Jade, and then it's going to send Albion in the end phase, and Albion's going to add you another Branded Fusion, like, that's insane. That's really good value. Speaking of Albion, he's made with a Light and a Fallen of Albaz, so you can make it from the deck by sending Mana. That's another great reason to play Mana in this build. You can also send any other Lights you're playing, so Soravus we were playing earlier, but we cut, and Ghost Ogre, so any other Lights you might want to play that are like hand traps, sure, go for it. I guess the biggest thing about this card is it banishes from grave field hand to fusion summon. So it's just like a different version to Lubellion, who's coming up next. And this is going to be usable sometimes, but also your best send target for Ice Blade. So really cool card. So yeah, if I wasn't clear enough, this one fusion summons a level 8 or lower by banishing from hand field grave. So it can be good. It can be good. And moving on to Lubellion, who is the new and rising star, the Searing Dragon. It's a light, which, yeah, is going to contradict our Gozen Match a little bit, but that's okay. It's pretty much the only light we're going to play besides Mana. If this card is Fusion Summon, yeah, discard a card. I wish this wasn't cost, and I wish this wasn't on Fusion Summon, but we can't have everything. So anyway, it is going to summon your Dragoon for you or your Dark Magician the Dragon Knight by shuffling the material from grave back into deck. Or banish, grave or banish back into the deck. So that's the cool things with like Lubellion and Albion. They can kind of help each other, which is great. And yeah, this card also locks you into fusions, but Branded already does that, so it's no big deal. Also, this locks you into fusions after its effect, while Branded locks you like... Branded's kind of like an instant lock, but also if you've linked or done any other summoning in that turn that's not fusion summoning, you just can't play it, you know? Kind of like Ref, where if you've normal, you can't use Ref. Branded Fusion, if you've linked away your Magician Souls for Link Karibo, you cannot use Branded. So this card's at least a little better because the restriction's after, but of course if you played Branded to get here, well, you're already under the Branded restriction. But in case you summon this without Branded, which I guess would be if you had to play Albaz and fuse it what is it, Albaz and a dragon, a dark. So if you fused it with one of your opponent's darks, then sure. Or if you use secrets or dark magic, then sure. Alright, we're getting into the super poly targets. So we've got one Starving Venom, which everyone knows, good card. And just the one Mud Dragon. This card's actually really nuts and people forget about its effects. So don't forget that after summoning Mud Dragon, let's say you got Rod and Souls, or just Aluber and Souls, and you can make them into Anaconda. Before you do that, and they're all dark monsters by the way, you should use this effect, declare an attribute, and this card becomes that attribute till the end of the turn, and this card says your opponent can't target cards or monsters on the field the same attribute as this card. So you use this effect, right, change it from water to dark, and that's a quick effect. So your opponent can go like imperm on it, but they can't, because it's a water at the time, so they can't target it. And then it changes to a dark, so they can never target this with imperm or Veiler. They can gamma it, but they cannot target it with imperm, Veiler, or like Chalice. So I love that about this card. Of course, if they have Droplet, like none of that matters, but yeah. Droplet doesn't target, so Droplet gets around all of this. But anyway, you know what I'm saying. So yeah, sometimes you're going to want to summon this and use the effect immediately, switching it to Dark. Normal, you're a Aluber from there, then they cannot imperm Veiler it. Special out your Souls, link it to Anaconda, Anaconda effect. They might try hand trap you, you'd be like, no, 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 unless that's a gamma, get the hell out of here. Access code, which is mainly here because we be playing Selene, and you know you can do the big link climb into access code through Dark to Selene to access, so it's really nice, and this can bring back Dragoon and like a bunch of other cool Dark Magician stuff, so card's very good in this deck. Dark, the new Link 2 boy, he's absolutely cracked, and he can get you into your access code plays. I love this card. He's always forced something for me, like my opponents had to use a negate or something, or they've just let me get to access code, so I love this guy. 2 Anaconda still. I love this card. Until it gets banned, you got to play it, and I think you got to play 2 as well, because Magicalized Fusion for late game, Red Eyes Fusion for early game, and you can even set Branded Fusion if you want to summon the Ice Blade Dragon thing. Still playing that Link Spider because you do want to get Dark Magician off the field and make it an effect monster in case you want to make Anaconda. And Imduck's here for a very, very similar reason, but it's a dragon, so Magician Souls and Magicalized can make Dragoon, and just being a dragon means you just have another way to potentially get to Dragoon. It does have a nifty little effect that can kill a monster that it points to. That's come up maybe once, so it's there if you need it. Alright guys, remember that this side deck is not a side deck, it's just a bunch of options that you could play instead. We've got Artemis, which doesn't seem as relevant, but if you're still playing 3 Rod, you're going to want to play Artemis and like not play Aluber kind of thing, right? Quintet, if you want another big spellcaster for Magicalized Fusion plays. We've got Titanic Lad, which should just go with all our Dogmatica stuff here. So obviously if you want to play Dogmatica, you're going to want to have your Eld Entity into Tis, maybe Omega and the rest of the package. The Prank Kids, Weather Washer, if you want a Prank Kids Super Poly target, and there's a bunch of other Super Poly targets you could play, but I just put the 2 most generic ones. And some random sides here that are actual sides. If you wanted to play second, you could play Mind Control, Dusters, Red Reboots. I don't think they're too necessary, but they're options. Anyway, this is going to be my final take on my Branded Fusion deck profile moving forward. Will I be building this for TCG? Maybe. I'll probably be testing it online at some point too, so be sure to check that out whenever that drops. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you enjoy my branded deck profile. My name is LOZA, and if you are not subscribed, consider doing so. Thanks again for joining me, guys. I know it was a bit of a longer video, but I thought you guys might enjoy it. And if you're new here, hey, consider subscribing. I got a bunch of Dark Magician content, and I know you love that Dark Magician content, so hit that subscribe, gamer, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.